don't know what I'm doing. I don't. No, not a clue. Hey guys, so today I'm going to do a quick review and demo on my current favourite foundation. It's one that I picked up whilst I was in Paris last week, and then I have talked about this before, I've mentioned it in previous videos because I'm obsessed with it, and I'm obsessed with Kathleen Lights, and she is the reason that I have this, so despite having completely different skin types. So this is the Makeup Forever Face and Body Foundation. It's supposed to be very similar to the MAC Face and Body. I am not sure on the price comparison for them, but they essentially do the same kind of thing. So I do have this in 2 shades. I was matched incorrectly in Paris. This is kind of more my winter shade, but it's still too pink toned. I have very warm undertones. I'm quite yellowy. So this wasn't quite the right colour match for me. So I picked up this one as well. So this one's number 38 Pink Porcelain, I believe, which, yeah, it's about my winter shade. And it is number 20 Ivory, which would be my summer shade, because I'm really fair, and even though this isn't particularly dark, that is the shade that I would have in summer. At the moment I'm mixing the two together because I'm somewhere between my winter and my summer shade because I'm self-tanning a bit. So I do about half and half of each. I absolutely adore this foundation. It is waterproof, it's transfer resistant. I can attest to it being waterproof because a couple of days after I bought it I was wearing it whilst I was in Paris, and we went to Disneyland and we were there for 10 hours and it rained pretty much the entire time. And I don't mean just kind of spitting a bit, it was torrential rain, and Disneyland apparently has a drainage problem. They need to learn from the Brits because the whole thing was just a giant puddle and everyone was soaked by the end of the day. But this stuff stayed in place. My Stila Waterproof Stay All Day eyeliner was bleeding on one eye, and yet this stuff just hadn't budged, and I hadn't even used a primer with it, it just wouldn't go anywhere. It's a sheer coverage foundation. It can probably be built up to medium coverage. I have built it up to around that. It builds really well. It never looks cakey on the skin. It can be quite dewy, but when you powder it down it's absolutely fine, and I don't mind either way that I wear it. And I think it's going to be a really good foundation for me in the summer, just because it feels like you have nothing on your skin, and it's waterproof and hopefully sweat proof as well, and I get very oily in the summer. I'm kind of normal to oily the rest of the year, and then in the summer I'm just drenched, which is nice. But yeah, so I'm gonna go ahead and do a demo of this foundation. As you can see, I've already done my eye makeup and my eyebrows, so I'll just add to this and then show you what it's like on its own, and then finish off with blush and contour and that kind of thing. So as usual, I'm going to be using my Zoeva 102 Silk Finish brush to work this in. This foundation also works very well with fingers, which makes application, especially when travelling, really easy. As you work in the foundation, you can feel it kind of thickening up, and the coverage kind of building. The MAC Face and Body apparently does the same thing. I think it's really cool. I've heard a lot about it doing that, and it's something I find quite fascinating when I use it myself. I didn't prime that side of the face, but I am going to prime the other side of my face with the Nivea Men Sensitive Post Shave Balm, which is something that a lot of people use as a primer because one of its main ingredients is glycerin, which is used in primers, and it works really well to stick foundation to it. The difference being with this stuff is that it's 3 times the size of a typical primer, and only costs about £5. It's not really an oil controlling primer or anything, it just helps to stick your makeup to your face and last a bit longer throughout the day. So, you know, I've been using this stuff a lot. So that's what one layer, I suppose, looks like. And I love this stuff because even though I've still got, you know, spots and redness and marks showing through, like, it still makes me feel like I look flawless, but like natural flawless, if that makes sense. Like, I really like the finish on it. even though it is very glowy for someone with oily skin. I do really like how it looks. Almost gives me a kind of natural highlight down here. And I really like the colour of it, especially the two mixed together. I'm now just going to build it up so you can see what it looks like with another layer, and then I'll get into concealing and contour and that kind of thing. So that's what 2 layers looks like compared to 1. So yeah, you get a bit more coverage. It doesn't look cakey at all. It just builds up really nicely, really naturally, especially when this is dried down. It has a bit of a dewy finish, as you can see, but when it's dried down fully, and especially when you've got a bit of powder on it, the way that it sits on the skin just looks really natural. I actually, when I was going to go get this, I was with my boyfriend and I was trying out their Ultra HD foundation as well, because that's the other one that I was interested in, because Makeup Forever is supposed to be kind of the brand for foundations. They've got their HD sticks, they've got the face and body, and they've got the matte velvet and the Ultra HD, which you can film in 4K with. And all of those are supposed to be absolutely wonderful. I tried out the Ultra HD on one half of my face and the face and body on the other half, and I asked my boyfriend which one he preferred, and he went for this one because he said that it looked like my skin but better, and he preferred the kind of natural finish on it. Not that the Ultra HD doesn't have a natural finish, it's just more full coverage than this. And this as a way of covering your skin in a way that looks really natural and not just like you put something over it. It just minimises all the kind of problem areas. But yeah, so I'm gonna finish off the other half of my face and get into the rest of my makeup. So yeah, this is what it looks like then. This is before I powdered it or anything. This side has primer underneath and this side is just by itself. There's not really any difference. It might make a difference in long wearing, but seeing as the whole Disneyland thing, I'm not too bothered about wearing any particularly heavy duty primer with this, although I will get the one of the Makeup Forever Step 1 primers at some point. So I'm now going in with MAC Pro Longwear Concealer. This is in the shade NC20, and I'm using that to cover my dark circles and also to highlight and cover spots as well. So highlighting all the usual places and then going with my beauty blender, blending that all in. Now just powdering that with my Rimmel Stay Matte Powder and a Morphe E2 Fluffy Powder Brush. Contouring with a Real Techniques Expert Face Brush and my Benefit Hoola Bronzer. Then using a 127 Luxe Sheer Cheek Brush from Zoeva and Coralista from Benefit to add a bit of colour to my cheeks, but not too much. Then using a Real Techniques stippling brush with Sweeter End from Zoeva's Cocoa Blend palette, and I'm using that to highlight. I really like this eyeshadow as a highlight actually. It gives a nice subtle glow. Nothing too reflective because I was feeling like a fairly natural look today. I then used MAC's Hot Tahiti as my lipstick. Wasn't too precise about that, just wanted an extra flush of colour to my lips. And there we go. So yeah, that's what the foundation looks like when it's all done with everything else. Yeah, so it's not as dewy as it was before, and I have added highlighter, so, but I'm completely obsessed with this stuff. I absolutely adore the finish on it. I love the coverage, I love the packaging, I think it's really cute. It looks professional but not too swanky. It is annoying that it's glass because it means that I'm a bit scared to travel with it. But yeah, generally all round adore it. It is quite pricey. It's £27 for 50ml, which is 20ml more than a regular foundation would have. So yeah, this is the Bourjois Healthy Mix Serum and this has 30ml. That is the general amount that a foundation will have. So because this is a face and body, it does have 50ml. I'm alarmed to think that I've spent nearly £50 on this stuff, but it is amazing. Actually no, over £50, my maths are terrible. Oh, we're going to ignore that. Both the money and the maths. But it is so nice and I don't regret it in the slightest, and I'm actually really glad that I have the darker shade now as well. And obviously they're the same formula, so they mix together really well, so I can really use this year round and not have to worry. So yeah, if you're in the market for a foundation that you want, especially for summer, then you can pick this up. In the UK it's kind of limited where you can get it. There's a few Debenhams, you'd have to look up which ones, but there's a few around the country, especially in London, that do sell this. Otherwise, if you're going to Europe, continental Europe obviously, or you're in the States, or basically anywhere that has a Sephora, they should sell Makeup Forever there, and I highly recommend this stuff. I think definite summer staple, because no one wants to be wearing full coverage in the summer. It's just not worth it. But yes, go for this stuff. It's fantastic. Right. Yeah, I'm now off on holiday for a week, so I won't be uploading any videos. I'll have a couple of blog posts scheduled, so check those out when they're up. That will be tomorrow, well, Monday, at 5 PM UK time, and Thursday at the same time. I'm not entirely sure what they're on yet. I've got to decide that this afternoon because I've got to write those up now. But yes, so I will see you guys soon. I had a lot of fun making this. Buy this foundation, please. If you've got the money and you're looking for this kind of thing, go for it. You will not regret it. Bye!